Okay, so welcome to the deep dive, everybody. We're going to be taking a look at something pretty specific today, something that's been getting a lot of attention lately, especially for those of you out there in the sales world or leading sales teams,
Yeah,
and who are really trying to figure out, this whole AI thing, right? It's like AI is everywhere these
it
days.
really is.
And how does it actually, change how we do business, how we make those sales happen?
Exactly.
And the thing that caught our eye is this AI plus sales certification looks like it's maybe a really practical way to kind of wrap your head around all this.
Right, exactly. It really seems to cut through the noise and, zoom in on the sales part of it,
Yeah, yeah.
which is what a lot of people are trying to figure out.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
it's not just about AI in general. It's about how do we actually use it to, boost our sales numbers and close more deals. So that's what we're going to try to really dig into.
That's what we're here for. So we've been going through a bunch of material on the certification, and it looks like it covers a pretty good range of things, like starting with even like the core ideas behind AI and how those apply to sales, all the way to like how do you actually use data effectively to, actually improve your sales game.
Yeah, it seems like they go from, like you said, those core concepts, but they really bring it down to earth with practical, real-world applications.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you've got these AI tools, but how do you actually use them in your day-to-day sales work? That's what people really want to know.
For sure. So to kick things off, let's just get the basic definition down. What is this AI plus sales certification really all about?
Well, from what we've been looking at, it's basically like a focused training program, designed for anyone in sales, whether you're a sales rep or a sales manager who wants to learn how to use AI to, really level up their sales game. And from the materials we have, it seems like it really boils down to a few key things. First, it gives you that solid foundation, that core understanding of AI concepts, but not just in a general sense. They make sure you understand how those concepts actually connect to sales processes and how you can actually use them to improve your sales.
Right. Right. It's like everyone's talking about AI these days, but it's like, how do you actually apply that to what I'm doing day in and day out?
That's exactly it.
Trying to hit quota.
Yeah. And then hand in hand with that comes the second big thing, which is all about understanding and using data effectively, especially in the sales context. Because AI in sales, it really relies on data. It's like the fuel that powers it. So the certification really digs into how to work with sales data to uncover those valuable insights that you can then use to make better decisions. And then, building on that foundation, they get into the nitty-gritty, talking about the specific AI technologies that are, actually transforming the sales world as we speak. And this is where it gets really interesting, because they go into how these technologies can be integrated into the systems that sales teams are already using every day, like CRM systems.
Right, right. So it's not like you have to learn some whole new crazy tech stack.
That's right.
It's about how you can fit these AI tools into what you're already doing.
Exactly. It's about that seamless integration. So instead of having to jump between different platforms, sales teams can have those AI-powered insights right at their fingertips, right within their existing workflows. It just makes it a lot more accessible and practical for everyone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And one of the things we saw mentioned in the materials too is that this certification really gets into how AI can be used for sales forecasting, which seems like a really powerful application, being able to predict what's going to happen down the line.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah. How does that actually work in practice? What's AI bringing to the table that we didn't have before?
It's a pretty big leap forward. I mean, think about it. Traditional sales forecasting, it often relies heavily on intuition and like past performance trends, which can be really subjective and sometimes, miss the mark.
Yeah.
But AI, on the other hand, it can crunch those huge amounts of data, like historical sales data, market trends, all those things, and then use that information to generate these much more data-driven and, really importantly, predictive forecasts.
Right.
So instead of just relying on gut feelings, sales teams can make more informed strategic decisions about allocating resources, managing inventory, all sorts of things.
Yeah, so it kind of takes some of the guesswork out of it and lets you plan more strategically.
Exactly. It's about making those strategic moves based on solid data insights,
Right.
rather than just hoping for the best. It can really change the game when it comes to planning for the future.
For sure. And the material also mentions AI's impact on just making things more efficient, streamlining operations and boosting productivity, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of the ways AI is doing that in a sales context?
Well, think about all those routine tasks that sales reps have to handle on a daily basis. Things like qualifying leads, sending follow-up emails, scheduling meetings. A lot of that can be automated using AI-powered tools, freeing up the sales reps to focus on those higher value activities, like building those relationships with clients and really working on those complex deals that require that human touch.
Right, right. So it's about letting the AI handle the kind of busy work so that human talent can be used where it really shines.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it seems like they really put an emphasis on making this practical, not just theory, but actually giving you the skills to use these tools.
Right.
The materials mentioned they even have hands-on workshops as part of this certification.
Absolutely. The practical workshops are a huge part of it.
Yeah.
They give you a chance to actually get your hands dirty and apply those concepts and techniques that you've learned. So instead of it just being theoretical, you're getting that real-world experience.
All right.
And that not only helps solidify your understanding, but it also builds that confidence that you need to actually go out there and implement these AI-driven strategies in your own work environment.
Yeah.
And as you know, the whole point of this is to help people use AI effectively to boost their sales performance and drive business growth, all while doing it ethically.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's great is that they pack all of this into a really focused format, just a single day, 8 hours.
Wow. It's a pretty intensive day.
Yes, but I think it speaks to the efficiency of the program.
Yeah, very focused. So with all these potential benefits, why is it especially important to be thinking about getting this certification right now?
Well, I think the numbers really tell the story. I mean, according to the information we've been looking at, something like 82% of businesses are already using AI-powered sales tools.
Wow, that's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And the number's only going to go up. So it's quickly becoming not just a nice-to-have skill, but a must-have skill for sales professionals if they want to stay competitive.
Right, right. It's not some far-off futuristic thing. It's happening now.
It is. And then on top of that, we've seen reports that AI-driven sales processes are leading to like a 35% increase in conversion rates. That's huge.
Yeah.
That kind of performance boost, it's really driving up the demand for sales teams that have those AI skills.
Makes sense. I mean, if you're a company and you're seeing those kinds of results, you're going to want people on your team who know how to use these tools.
Absolutely. And this is still a relatively new field, which means there's a big gap between the number of companies looking for AI-skilled sales professionals and the number of people who actually have those skills. And that's creating some really interesting and lucrative opportunities for people who have that expertise.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So for someone who's thinking about getting the certification, what are the key things they'll learn? What are the real tangible benefits they can expect to walk away with?
Well, the advantages seem pretty substantial, and they cover a lot of important ground.
Yeah.
First off, you're going to get a really comprehensive understanding of AI.
Yeah.
This isn't just scratching the surface. This is about really getting a grasp of those core concepts.
Right.
And specifically how they relate to streamlining your sales workflows, being able to predict future trends, and of course, improving how you interact with your clients.
Yeah.
Then there's the whole predictive sales analytics side of things, which is basically about using AI to build models that can help you forecast sales with a lot more accuracy than traditional methods. Being able to see around the corner, if you will, and make more data-driven decisions.
Yeah, and to really back up those predictions with data rather than just intuition, which I think is really powerful for a lot of people.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
And then they really dive into how AI can help you get those customer insights that are so valuable in sales. So, understanding customer behavior patterns, being able to automate that lead scoring process, which is basically ranking leads based on how likely they are to convert into customers. And then once you have those insights, using AI to personalize your outreach so you're connecting with potential clients in a much more effective way. And the bottom line is, like the materials say, you're going to be equipped to actually use AI to make more sales. They cover it all, from sales forecasting to integrating AI into your CRM to really optimizing your overall sales strategies. You can be more effective, engage with your customers better, and really get that competitive edge.
So it sounds like you walk away with a pretty well-rounded set of skills.
You do.
Now, if someone's listening to this and thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but is it right for me? Are there any prerequisites? Do you need to be some kind of tech genius to even get started with this?
No, not at all.
Oh.
I mean, the prerequisites they list seem pretty reasonable, nothing too intimidating.
Yeah.
Basically, you need a basic understanding of how sales processes work, the kind of language that's used in sales, which, if you're in sales, you probably already have.
Right.
They also mention it helps to have some fundamental knowledge of data analysis, since AI in sales relies heavily on data.
Makes sense.
And then some familiarity with CRM systems would be good, just to understand how AI tools can fit into those systems.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the biggest prerequisite seems to be that genuine interest in exploring how AI can change the game for sales and help businesses grow their revenue.
Okay.
So it's really designed for those who are curious and excited about using these new technologies to improve how they sell.
Yeah. So if you're already thinking about these things and kind of curious about AI, then this might be a really good fit for you.
Exactly. It's not for AI experts, but it's definitely for sales professionals who are eager to enhance their skills with AI.
Got it. So you don't need to be some kind of data scientist. You just need to be interested in how you can use these tools to be better at sales.
Exactly.
All right, now let's talk about the structure of the certification itself. What are the modules like, and how does the whole thing work?
So the certification is broken down into 8 distinct modules, and at the end of it all, there's an exam you have to pass to get certified.
Okay.
The exam is 50 multiple-choice questions, and you have 90 minutes to complete it. You need to get at least 70% of the questions right to pass.
Right, straightforward enough.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff.
Yeah.
And as for the modules themselves, they're laid out in a way that builds your knowledge step by step.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts with an overview of the certification it's saying, just to give you the big picture.
Yeah.
Then you dive into the basics of AI and how it applies to sales. After that, there's a module all about data in sales, which is crucial because, AI relies on data.
Yeah.
Then they get into specific AI technologies that are relevant to sales and how you actually implement those technologies in your CRM system.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's a module dedicated to AI-powered sales forecasting, which is really powerful.
Yeah.
Then a module on how to enhance your overall sales processes with AI. And finally, there's a practical workshop to really solidify everything you've learned.
Yeah, right. So it's a nice mix of theory and hands-on practice.
Exactly.
Yeah. We've been talking about AI in kind of a general way. Are there any specific AI-powered sales tools that this certification talks about?
Yeah, there are a few that they mentioned, specifically Salesforce, Einstein, Conversica, and Unifor.
Okay.
So, the certification probably doesn't go super deep into training you on how to use every single feature of these tools.
Right?
But just by mentioning them, it gives you a much more concrete sense of what's actually out there and how these tools are being used to solve real-world sales challenges.
Yeah, so you can see how the things you're learning can actually be put into practice using real tools.
Exactly. For example, Salesforce Einstein is really interesting because it's built right into their CRM platform. So you can access those AI-powered insights directly within your existing sales workflow. And Conversica is another cool one. They specialize in these AI-powered sales assistants that can automate a lot of those initial outreach and lead nurturing tasks, which can be a huge time saver.
That's cool, yeah. So it's not just about these abstract concepts. You're actually getting a glimpse of how AI is being used in the trenches, so to speak.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about that exam again. What skills will you need to demonstrate to actually pass this thing and get certified?
Well, from what the materials tell us, the exam really focuses on making sure you can actually use what you've learned about AI in a sales context. So one of the key things they're looking for is your ability to apply AI to improve your sales strategies.
Oh.
This means being able to personalize your interactions with customers, use data-driven insights to make your sales efforts more effective, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Another key skill is being able to analyze sales data and draw meaningful conclusions from it.
Yeah.
It's not just about having the tools, it's about being able to interpret what those tools are telling you and then actually use that information to make smarter decisions that can improve your sales performance.
That makes sense. You need to be able to understand what the data means, not just blindly follow some algorithm.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the whole practical side of things, being able to actually integrate AI tools into CRM systems.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to see that you can use these tools to automate and optimize things like customer interactions, lead scoring, and managing your sales pipeline.
Right, right.
And then finally, they want to make sure you understand how to use AI to predict customer behavior.
Okay.
This means being able to analyze historical data and current trends to build models that can forecast what your customers are likely to do in the future. And that allows you to be more proactive with your marketing and sales efforts.
So it sounds like the exam is really designed to make sure you're not just memorizing facts about AI, but you can actually use these skills in the real world.
It does.
All right, so let's say someone puts in the time, goes through this certification, passes the exam. What kind of impact could that have on their career?
Well, from everything we've seen, it looks like it could be pretty significant. The materials we have talk about AI sales career advancement and even using phrases like 10x your growth.
Okay, so they're not shying away from saying it could be a game changer.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And when you look at the numbers, it's hard to argue. They cite a median salary of like $22,000 for people without AI skills in sales. But for those who have those skills, the median salary jumps up to over $90,000. That's a huge difference.
Wow, that's a pretty compelling statistic.
It is. It really shows you how much value these skills are adding to the marketplace.
Yeah.
And they even go further to mention some specific areas within sales that are really seeing a lot of growth and demand for AI skills.
Okay, like what?
Well, things like AI-powered CRM and lead scoring, predictive sales analytics, AI-driven customer engagement, using things like chatbots and virtual assistants to interact with customers.
Right.
And then automating those sales funnels, which is basically the whole process of guiding leads through the sales process.
Right, right. It's clear that companies are investing heavily in AI to streamline and improve their sales operations.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
And this certification seems like a really solid way to get those in-demand skills.
So to kind of sum it all up, what's your biggest takeaway from our deep dive into this AI plus sales certification?
Well, for me, the main takeaway is that this certification really seems to hit that sweet spot of being both timely and focused. It's giving people the specific skills they need to succeed in a field that's rapidly evolving and becoming increasingly important in the business world. And it's not just about AI in some abstract way. It's about using AI to actually improve sales processes and, ultimately make more money.
Right. And that's what a lot of people are looking for, that practical application.
It is. And it also seems like a pretty smart investment from a career perspective. The potential for growth and earning power that comes with these skills is definitely worth paying attention to.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, I'm convinced AI in sales is the future and I need to get on board, what should you do? Where should you go from here?
Well, I'd say the next logical step is to just learn more about the AI plus sales certification. From what we've seen, there are options to enroll right away, or you can look for more information about their instructor-led courses. Just taking that first step to gather more information, it's a really small investment that could potentially lead to some big rewards down the line.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in AI in general, but not sure if sales is your specific focus, there are also more general AI certifications out there?
Yeah, there are. Like the AI plus everyone certification, for example. That one gives you a good foundational understanding of AI without getting too specific about any particular industry.
Right. That's a great point. So maybe if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, starting with something broader could be a good way to dip your toes in the water.
Definitely.
So on that note, here's something to think about as you continue to explore this whole world of AI and sales. How could mastering AI in one area, like sales, give you a kind of foundation of knowledge that you could then apply to other parts of business? And what other skills, when combined with AI proficiency, are going to be the most valuable in the future job market? What kind of skill combinations will make you really stand out? Food for thought, right? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.